Greetings, and welcome back to another round of the Cthulhu Round Robin. This time we'll be starting with the new adventure, Alone Against Winter. My name is Apollonia Series Fleur, a damaged combat android, just here to experience and do as many things as possible. And today I am joined by the lovely GyaruGarou. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm GyaruGarou. I play a lot of retro stuff. I play a lot of fighting games, and I'm an old person. Hi.
Yes, and a boomer with good TTRPG knowledge too. I actually think the first thing I ever saw of yours was the Betrayal at the House on the Hill stream.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm very much into a lot of tabletop stuff, and a bit of TTRPGs. I haven't played COC in a while, but I've played a lot of Pathfinder. I've played a lot of Fate. I've played a bit of Mage the Awakening too, and all of the World of Darkness setting games. Yeah.
World of Darkness is pretty funny. I've never experienced it myself, but I remember a teacher who played World of Darkness games, and I asked, what was the experience like? And he said, oh, I probably wouldn't recommend it. And I was like, why so? Well, I was in a Vampire the Masquerade game, and it was a LARP.
Oh no, I've heard so VTM is like not that great, but VTMB the game is amazing and like World of Darkness is really good. I've heard the VTM game is just it's kind of cringe. Like mechanically it's cringe. I haven't played it
Uh,
myself.
yeah, I hear that Bloodlines is pretty good, and well, I do remember Hal was doing a reoccurring for Vampire the Masquerade game. It looked to just be a more fun, stupid storytelling game. Vampire
Mhm.
vampire sitcom. At least how they played
That's what
it.
it kind of feels like, but you know, usually the kind of person that wants to play VTM, their kind of sitcom is gonna be closer to something like Angel or Buffy.
True, true. No happy-go-lucky Jerry Seinfeld new kindred.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. It's the kind of game made by its players. I usually kind of stick to board game stuff because it's easier to get a group just to play board games. I have like an IRL group and an online group.
Mm.
I just expanded my collection recently too.
Weird. I've been able to get people pretty easily for TTRPGs. Usually with the assurance that we'll be playing the same thing next week. Sometimes it's hard to get people to learn board game rules.
Mm. For me, it's hard to get like a committed like long term group. I wouldn't say hard, but like sometimes you don't want the same players over and over again that only want to play Pathfinder.
Well, that's understandable. I'm thankful that I at least stick away from the popular ones where everyone wants to bring in their build that they've used in way too many games.
Mm. Thankfully, my partner and all the people I play with use a different build each time, but their build is usually some psychopath shit, like some like absolute hyper min max shit that's completely ridiculous, and the character is always trying to be Littlefinger from Game of Thrones or something like that, something doing crazy shit constantly.
Oh yeah, that happens too. I should have been wary when there was two druids in a party. No, it wasn't even two druids. Then there was a third one when the new player came around. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned pretty quickly how dangerous that can be. But anyways,
Multiple casters. Okay, go ahead.
multiple casters and their druids. Specifically, there was two moon druids and one stars druid, but I digress. Uh,
Mm.
couldn't keep the low level, very low level play for long with that. Uh, but today we'll be playing the Call of Cthulhu module Alone Against Winter. And, well, with that, why don't you introduce your character, GyaruGarou?
So, as this is a kind of a one shot, I guess, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think too hard on her backstory, but I will be playing Theresa Fairchild, 43-year-old anthropologist. She's on an exhibition. Originally, she was going to be like an Indiana Jones type at the whim of my partner, but I was like, nah, I'm actually going to play the old, crotchety, pragmatic type. You know, the know it all. Always making the pragmatic decisions.
Yeah, so that's pretty good because a good head on your shoulders is essential to survival against the trials of the
Mm-hmm.
mythos. And that expedition, yes, that is an expedition into the Hanina north of the Canadian wildlands in freezing winter, a almost unexplored territory, and one that is even shied away by the local First Peoples of the region. Needless to say, it could yield, needless to say, with some of the rumors that have come out of it, it could be easily enough to cement your place in history, but it could also be, well, fatal. Not environmentally, or from who knows if some of the things that have been said are to be believed. But yes, whatever stories are masked, stories mask this place. Still, you and your students, as well as a local Indian guide, which you were able to recruit with the expedition's generous grant, you all have loaded into a canoe, gotten your supplies together, and well, begin to set off from Fort McDonald against a howling winter wind. Cue the music.
Theresa likes her odds. Oof. Spooky.
As you begin down the Hanina, you first pass through a small valley. You're on the Hanina River and you haven't reached the Hanina proper. But this area is a bit well known for back in the day being known as Headman's Glen, a name which is a bit butchered, much like the heads that were found here, a party of prospectors far back, but that is now ancient history, thankfully. As you continue on your canoe down the river, following the west branch of the Mackenzie, at the mouth of the tributary, the water swiftly swiftens towards a junction. The Ram Mountains loom grayly in the distance. The sun is, well, it dips behind a large black-gray winter cloud and is gone. So short are the days, and the darkness and the cold and the snow has made this waterway incredibly chill. This is a tough river, and, well, as you move towards this tributary junction, the first one, and not one that you were, if your maps are to be believed, was even here, you look to your Indian guide and find that at the sight of this, he has bent over, put his hands together, closes his eyes for a brief moment, then stands back up. It seems strange, almost a gesture of prayer, but one that looked a little bit worried.
What's the general morale of my little group going on here?
The students look. Oh, yes, I forgot to introduce the cast with you. I should actually say their names for everybody. But, yes, you are joined by three graduate students, Bernard, Sylvia, and Norman. They look to be in good spirits, having just started the journey. In the canoe, they don't look too observant at the current point. The local Indian guide, Charlie Foxtail, is. Well, he looks strained at the sight of this.
Hmm. Do I know the name of the Indian guide?
Charlie
What was his name
Foxtail.
again? Charlie Foxtail, okay. My good man, Foxtail. What was the little prayer gesture about? Anything you want to tell me?
Um, with a, uh, as he coughs briefly, um, well, it seems that we've come upon a place of splitting water. I've heard of this. This river is alive. It makes itself anew each time. There's no direction I can give. There's just a right and a wrong way. But we'll have to choose blindly.
Hmm. What is your gut saying?
Hmm. He looks towards it and he says, "My gut tells me the right way."
Alright, and can I use survival, tracking, or spot hidden to, see if, like, you know, if that's the right idea, if he's on the right track?
I'll say for this, since this is just a tributary in a valley that cuts into two and you can't really see too far ahead, it's hard to discern which way is the right way.
Okay. Well, I have no choice, so I guess we have to trust in our man here.
Trusting Charlie and heading down the right way. The river curls and bends around, continuing steadily at first, but then as it hits a downward, it begins to speed up, and you begin to see further ahead rocks and debris and other such, and as the canoe passes over them, it rattles and shakes in the river. And the river, well, the river quickly becomes rapids. Could you make me a pilot boat roll?
Pilot bolt. Alright. Oof. Should have considered that. Oh, whoops. 61.
61. And I'm guessing that's a failure, but just tell me pass or fail if it's underneath your skill or above. And welcome, GG Badger. Thank you for tuning in.
Underneath my skill. Underneath my skill or what?
If the roll is underneath the skill level, it's a pass. If it's above, it's a fail.
Believe it is above.
Yes, indeed. As you pass down the river, you try with a rope to steer your canoe, keeping it towards the center, keeping it towards a nice flow, but you must have misjudged. A rock strikes it, it bounds upwards, and then lands back down into the surging boil. The canoe rattles. Could you make me a luck roll, please?
Alright. It is under my luck. 14.
Nice. You all manage to hold on to the battered canoe and are driven by the current to a driftsoon sandbar. Thankfully beached, you're able to catch your breath from the early scare of your journey.
Boats. Hard to find good help here.
Your group, though,
How?
as you take inventory, you notice that some of your supplies have been lost, and some of the weapons to the river. The knives have all been retained, but two of the hatchets are gone, and well, the rifle thankfully remains in the canoe.
All right. Well, nothing can be done about that. No use crying over spilt milk.
Hmm. Yeah, resigning yourself that these will stay lost, and with your canoe too damaged for the time being to be put back on the river, you think to make camp before the weather turns against you. You look up and those gray clouds, it looks like thunderheads, are almost at implement, and soon, as they roll in, stinging torrents of cold rain will probably be pouring down upon you. In winter, with this much snow, this much cold air, that could easily be nearly unsurvivable.
Yeah, best make camp.
Would you like to make one of those survival rolls?
Yes, I would like to. I keep doing that. Failure.
You look around, and eventually, the best place to find camp is just under a large tree. At this point, some of you probably will get a little bit sloppy. Your toes might stick out, and your bed rolls will not be very comfortable. But you think you'll make it. The others, well, the students, perhaps they were not as understanding of what might come with this journey, and they seem to be thinking of voting as to build a raft, return uh, to the West Branch, or continue on the expedition. That this bad luck may soon pass. They seem to be, well, arranging to cast lots and decide.
Let's not be hasty. Let's see how the night goes. Regardless, I don't think any of you guys want to be building a raft at this time right now. Things are looking bad tomorrow. If the night was bad and things are bad tomorrow, we'll head back. We'll do a vote, actually. We'll do a vote. If things are looking good, we'll press on.
Assuming your reasoning, you delay and hold out the vote, and everyone at this point really just wants to get some sleep.
So, should
Morning.
we assign a night watch?
You can if you'd like.
Sleeping in shift sounds like a good idea. Bernard, how you feeling?
Bernard seems mostly composed, pretty sturdy. He can take
Alright.
first watch.
Alright,
Norm
cool.
and
Your first
Sylvia.
watch, Bernard.
And so with a small little makeshift watch order composed, you all head to sleep for that night, and Well, none of you got wounded during your expedition, so no need for healing time. But with the morning, it seems the storm has passed, and everybody having thought on it a bit more, decides that yes, it probably would be best to continue the expedition.
All right.
With where you are in the Hanana, it's hard to tell which way to go, other than following the river back up or back down or around. Mostly it just comes down to which do you really want to set off? Do you want to head towards the valley edge, uphill? Do you want to head further down into the valley? Or do you want to try to cross it to the other side?
Crossing it is a very bad idea. And by crossing it, you mean crossing the river, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like an awful idea. That usually never goes well. I think we might as well head up the valley, get some high ground.
Alrighty. Beginning to make your way towards the mountainside. Your group stumbles upon a small cave system that might make some adequate shelter for as long as you wish to stay in this area. Charlie volunteers to explore the rear passages and asks Bernard to go with them. Meanwhile, you, Norma, and Sylvia, you bring out the camp stuff as your day of walking comes to an end. Uneasy about beaching your canoe by the side. And, well, even with that burden, the students still look to be hoping to prove themselves as something of voyageurs. Their morale is steadily growing from the past day. Their light-hearted banter, though, is suddenly cut off as a strange howl, whir comes from within the caves. Some distorted, echoing sounds from within.
There ain't nothing good for us in there. What does it sound like? Is it like a wolf howl or just like inhuman, like incomprehensible?
Could you make me a listen roll?
I should have put points into that. Oh, that's a super fail.
You're unable to make out what specifically these sounds might resemble, besides the fact that they're absolutely bone-chilling.
Well, everyone, take a weapon.
With weapons and
Take a
torches in
weapon.
hand.
And we are not going anywhere near whatever that is. There is nothing good for us in there. Probably some kind of angry bear. Or a moose. If it's a moose, that's way worse.
Bernard and Charlie, however, are within the cave and have not returned.
Gut says no. My gut says not to go after them. Shouldn't have gone that far deep, but they did. On me. Let's go. Let's check out what happened. Shouldn't do this, but we're going to do this. I don't know, I'm saying all of this in character.
Gotcha. Swallowing the lump in your throat, you begin to follow Charlie's trail into the cave, which thankfully was carefully marked, allowing you to easily make your way towards where they might be. The rocks underfoot, after a certain point, turn slick as you barely recover, having almost landed on your bottom. You find that in the next passage ahead, cave is permanently frozen, ice dancing along the walls, forming flowstones and stalactites,
Ooh.
glittering in this crystal is an unnerving sight. A litter of wild caribou bones. It had to have come
No.
from dozens.
Do I see any sign, any remains? I'm already assuming the worst. Any remains of my boys?
Could you make me a spot hidden roll?
Yes, I can. Oh, come on. That's a fail. 97.
Looking around this part of the cave for Bernard, you're unable to find him or any sign that he was here.
That's unfortunate. Well, if he's not here, no point in lingering here. There's definitely something that's not for me around here. Where are my other two? What are they doing? Did they follow me in, or are
Norman
they
and
holding the
Sylvia
entrance?
followed you in, and at the sight of the bones, they look a little bit perturbed, but yeah, without a sign of Bernard, you can tell that they still do want to try to continue on.
All right, move in a group. Keep your hands on each other. How dark is it in here, actually?
It is. Well, your torches illuminate the place, but otherwise, this area would be pitch black.
Do we see their path continue? Like any sign of a not their remains, but like footprints, or they're marking their trail from Charlie.
After this point, the normal trail markers disappear. And as you continue downwards into the cave, you eventually end up at, and bearing that this is the only way forward you've determined, something that's even more unsettling. A complete dead end. And down here, as if lying put here, is a single stone arrowhead.
Out of game, I probably shouldn't fuck with that. In game, I'm gonna fuck with that. All right, I'm taking a closer look. This is the kind of stuff I'm here for.
You pick up the arrowhead, and could you make a medicine check?
Medicine, all right.
You can tell that something has been rubbed upon the arrowhead's sides.
No, yep, that's a fail.
Looking at the arrowhead, you're unable to determine what has been smudged upon it. But with how recent this must have been for you to notice something applied to it, you worry that you might not be alone in this cave.
I mean, I knew from the moment I set foot in here we wouldn't be alone. I'm wearing gloves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can... Okay, yeah. To pocket the arrowhead. And, alright. Let's get out of here. Come back in, we'll look for them. This is a dead end, so if our boys are still okay, if they weren't, like, mauled by a bear, they're probably outside. They're probably outside getting chased by said bear.
Mm-hmm. Yes, with no sign of them in this eerie message. Well, the students are looking to you as to whether you should return or continue to search for them. Might
Return
turn
as
up
in
elsewhere in
return,
this
like,
valley.
leave the cave, or return
Return to
as in...
civilization.
There's one more of us. If there was just one more of us, I would say 2 of us continue on, 2 of us go home. Let us know that there's trouble. How many days out are we?
This is your second day out. You were just
It's gonna
about
take 2
to
days.
go to sleep, having made camp, before the disappearance of Charlie and Bernard.
I don't think our boy can make it home alone. Just sending one of the students, I really doubt that they'll make it back. Well, when we exit the cave, I'm gonna call out for their names, and I assume my students are gonna be doing the same.
So you call out for them, call out late into the night, but there is no sign of them. Not here, at least.
Hmm. How are my students feeling? Do they want to? Oh, guitar. Do they? Are they shook? Are they quaking in their boots, or are they worried about their homies?
They're shook. Sylvia seems to be more leaning towards the side she hopes that Bernard and Charlie will resurface sometime, Bernard especially. Norman seems to be cautiously thinking about heading back to civilization. He seems
I'm
to reason
inclined to. Oh, go ahead.
he
Sorry.
seems to reason that they could find help, but the time it would take to travel back, Sylvia believes that no more that Charlie and Bernard may disappear fully, knowing how much a mere 24 hours can matter in the search for somebody.
Well, if Bernard is with Charlie, I think he'll be fine. Assuming they both didn't get mauled by a bear. Which, that's what my gut is saying. I'm inclined to side with Norman here. The three, are you an expert tracker, Sylvia? What about you, Norman? Are either of you trained to find someone? In these conditions? This is
They
in character.
reluctantly shake their head.
We probably need help. If we continue on like this, one of y'all might get lost. Or both of y'all. God forbid me! Hmm.
Yes, leaning with the more cautious reasoning of Norman, you choose to begin the journey back towards civilization and welcome Mojave Punk. Perhaps when they're at Fort McDonald, they can prepare some horrific Home Alone-esque siege defenses, but
Hmm. Oh, hey, Mojave Funk. But we will go a little bit further. Only a little bit further. Only a little bit. If we see no sign, like no footprints, no nothing, nothing of them being chased, we turn back. And by a little bit, I mean maybe like 45 minutes worth of searching a little bit. At most. At most 45 minutes. We see no sign, we turn back.
The next morning, when light returns and you are able to search, these signs do not show themselves, and resolved with that,
Ugh.
you turn back. And you travel through more and more trackless woods on short rations and under a increasingly cool climate. Following up the river. And when you can hear my mouse wheel going like this, it's because I'm scrolling through this large document.
I couldn't hear
Module.
your mouse wheel.
Ah.
I could hear your dice, but that's it.
You come across a riverside march, and, well, marsh, and at this, the river, well, it must really be making itself new each day. It's become an absolute wetland with multiple streams pouring into it. You didn't see this coming up, but you could still attempt to track your way out with a successful roll.
Tracking roll?
Mm-hmm.
Or... Alright. That's a pass.
Alright, nice. As you make it through these marshes, you eventually, towards the other side, find some slight tracks following through the woods, moving up the stream. You can guess that perhaps some local trappers or perhaps some of the Indians wandering in this area left them. They might be heading back towards civilization. Do you follow? And again, you
Yeah.
don't know the intent of this group.
I do not, but we got nothing else to go off of. I definitely feel like we're walking into a trap here, but we got nothing else to go off.
Following the trail up for almost a mile, you hear a mutter of voices over the wind. Crawling up behind a mass of bearberry bushes, you part enough to see to the other side. There, in the shadow of the larches, you observe several Indians. Anthropologically, you judge them members of the Sarsis, the most prominent local tribe. Though, with their skin shirts, their leggings, and their woodland-style moccasins, you believe that they might be of the more minimal contact sort. They hold 19th century rifles, some of the men in the party.
I try and greet them in their own language. I do have language other. I wanted that to be in Native American language. I just don't know the name of it.
Well, yes, that, I believe... I'm not sure if
Is
Sarsi
it
is the language
Navajo?
name, but... No, Navajo is Western United States. This is Upper Canada. So even I'm out of the loop on this. But... Going to greet them. Moving out of the bushes, you go and move to speak, but at the first sight of you, they raise their weapons, and it looks like a little bit of a tense standoff is beginning to form. Do you like to still go ahead and try to defuse it by talking to them?
Yeah, I just back up, back up, and in their language, or if I can make the roll, if that's possible, I would just like to say, I come in peace, I mean no harm, if I
Yes.
can make that roll.
Making a
Language
sure,
other.
make the language other roll.
That's a pass.
All right. Making a basic peace sign, making no move to defend yourself. The Indian party closes in around you, and seeing one of the rifles in your group, they take it off your back, as well as the knife from your belt. They hurry past you, and you hear Norman and Sylvia behind you protesting. With your weapons disarmed, they seem to be calming down a little bit.
Alright, alright. Does anyone in their group seem to speak a lick of English?
Well, one of them has already spoken to one of the others in English. You've overheard that much. So they do appear to have enough speaking ability, and after a small bit of conversing amongst themselves, and seeing that you really do pose no threat, they ask that you follow them.
Follow you where? We are currently heading our way back to civilization. Two of our group are lost. One of them is our Native American guide, and another is one of my students. Perhaps you've seen them.
This is sacred ground. The less time you spend here, the better.
Completely understand. Where are we going?
We will just be heading out to a small camp outside this place. You can make your way back to civilization from there.
Sounds good to me. May I ask your name? My name is Teresa. These are my students, Sylvia and Norman.
David.
I say this while walking, I don't want to stop. Okay.
He doesn't seem to give his last or earned name, or whatever secondary name would normally be given, just sticking to first names.
That's good enough for me. Alright. Well, Dave, have you by any chance seen any trace of two lost individuals out here?
David shakes his head, and as you make your way back, he looks into the distance and then shouts some gruff instructions to one of the other hunters. The pace picks up.
Is there any way that I can understand what he said? Just want to make sure they didn't say something like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Make a language other roll.
Alright. That's a pass.
The basic gist of the message is must leave quickly and certainly admonish the prisoners, or we will be facing that.
Alright, well, let's go. Let's go. I agree. If they say we gotta get out of here quickly, I'm gonna keep up with their pace. And I'm urging my students to keep up with the pace with me.
After you make it back to their camp, The leader of the Indian Party, David, goes to his things and eventually, after rummaging for a while, pulls out a long width of cord, which he cuts into 3 sections, and almost holding each side, says, "Put your hands out, please. This is for your own welfare."
You mean to tie us up?
Believe me, I cannot explain the reasons why, but we will leave you at this camp. You will be able to continue to make your way back to civilization. However, we're all in danger if your group continues with us. And
What do I
if you're
roll to
not
see? What do I roll to see if I
significantly
trust this guy?
admonished, make a psychology roll.
Alrighty. Fail. Super high.
You're unable to discern his intentions.
Hmm. Before you tie us up, I don't wish to question your customs, but the other night, I heard a creature. Don't know what it was. I assume it was a bear. Didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before. If you tie us up, and that creature comes, what are we going to do? Do you know what that is? Can you tell us? Sasquatch?
You've lost 2 of your party. Is that missing or...
Or
have you seen anything happen to them?
not at all. Not a single trace of them.
He looks up in the air for a moment as if almost thinking of how to not stumble over the next words he's about to say. Perhaps... Perhaps if you stay here and continue this journey, they might show. But if you go back to civilization, you will never know, because you will never see them again.
What do you mean by they might show? I have already assumed the worst.
If you do not... He smacks his lips. If you do not... If your version of worst does not involve them also showing and appearing once again, then we have very different conceptions about what the worst thing that could happen to them might be.
Why tie us up, then? If we have to stay here, why not just leave us here?
I tell you, it is for your own welfare. But I can only really just say it is custom. You respect it, and perhaps things will work out better.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
Custom for us, custom for you. Pay it.
And I assume you're not going to let us pass if we decide not to be tied up.
No. In this group, well, you're not going to want to come near it again.
What do you worship, Dave? What are your gods, Dave? This is sounding oddly like a ritual, this custom of yours. Leaving us to die so your wildlife can eat us, huh? Maybe not all of us, but
With a furrowed brow, he replies, "These days, I don't actually have time or the ability to worship much of anything. There's a bit of derision in that. But respect? I can still respect the things that would be worshipped. And what they set forth.
tell me about these things, Dave. I'm learned. I can understand. Help me understand why you need to do this.
If you were learned, you would have not have come to this place with all the rumors that surround it. Even that much which is known widely is enough. But here's how this goes." And he takes a step back, and you see his hand on the sling to his gun. "We want to make it out of this valley. You, well, we can hope that you make it out too. But you have come here, and now this is testing you, and we do not want to be wrapped up in your test."
What is this? You just keep saying this and that, as if you're referring to a thing. As if the valley is alive.
Between the howling, rushing wind and the slowly falling snow, all he has to do is look up and just say, "It's not one thing in particular, just that ever-present, ever-blowing northern wind." If he's looking to some place, it's far beyond you now.
Hmm. And he said earlier, out of character, he said earlier that there will be a fight if I just try and run for it, right? I did ask that earlier.
Yes, you did.
So there will be a fight. Well, guess we have no choice here. Leave us our weapons. This is a test, and leave us our weapons.
After you are tied, they put down your weapons beside you. Just far enough that if you leapt forward, you could probably grab one of them. And then, well, at this point they've almost all gone wordless and don't even seem to want to look at you. They leave.
Alright, the moment they're out of sight, head in the same direction as them.
First, would you like to try to remove the cord?
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
Could you make
As long as one of us can get free, the rest of us can get free.
a dexterity roll?
That's a pass.
Alright, now this is where you're going to have to get not just a pass, but a higher level of success. Is this under half your skill level? Or half
It
your
is not.
So,
I mean, it is under my skill level, but it's not under half of it, so it's not under 25.
understand. The clever knots are a little too much, and your party's best attempts are foiled. And you have no choice, well, but to wait as the night continues. By the time the gray light of dawn comes around, you see something now between the leaves you couldn't have made out before. Not with not with the night turning everything into shades of gray, but now between the brown winter leaves,
Wait, is
the
this
bushes.
dusk or dawn?
This is dawn.
Is the sun
Early
set?
dawn.
Okay, so the sun is rising. Okay.
You see that in between the brown leaves and the bushes, and against the snow, there are small humanoid figures. You don't think something with dark gray skin and those grotesque, almost sculpture-like features could be human, just humanoid, like almost there. But
Would
they
the
seem
cult
to
come in handy here
a
to
cult.
identify them?
Yes, make an occult roll.
All right. That's a pass.
Knowing some of the rumors about this valley, you think that these might have been some of the least least credible and most wild, now validated in the flesh. The rumors of almost human people, offshoots, that having lived in such isolation, have become so far removed from the rest of humanity. Perhaps peoples from lost continents, or from ages which no history can be drenched from. Now they stand in front of you.
Armin, whichever one of you can get your hands, take notes. It's them. This is the missing link. Fascinating.
In awe of what's in front of you, the dawn continues, and slowly they rise. You see they carry bows and small wired curios, wooden balls on strings and little bunches like grapes. Some have animal bones tied into hair or wrapped in necklaces around their neck. They come forward towards you, slowly encircling your group, but bearing no hostility.
Sick. Tight. Are they speaking or are they completely silent?
Completely silent.
Well, I will probably not say anything. These are the missing link. These are such ancient people. They will definitely not understand our modern language. Don't want to. Don't want to aggravate them. You know, we'll speak. We'll speak when spoken to. But for now, I'll just watch them as if I'm studying them. And I'm assuming my students are frozen in fear. They ain't taking no notes. We ain't got no cameras, huh?
Awe and fear, a mixture of the two. That and absolute confusion. It's a surreal sight, and it's so surreal that you almost don't take notice as they tie their own strings around your hands before cutting the previous bounds that were there. And then, well,
Huh.
their movements, as if with the daylight, begin to speed up. They now seem more active as they quickly haul you and then the students onto their backs, 3 of them, and begin to carry you, bouncing back and forth as they make their way through the woods.
I've seen this movie.
As they come into a clearing, they finally pause. They look around. The wind howls. The sun, once again, passes under some clouds, though the world is still illuminated by the reflection of light off the snow. From forth the woods, a figure in a deerskin cowl hobbles into the clearing. It pauses,
Oh, I bet they look sick.
looks at you, and then drops its hood. Unveiled is an old woman, white, obviously one of the European Canadians, not the First Peoples here, but she's so old and her hair is stringy. It looks unkempt, and her face sags as if bearing years and years of exhaustion. She lifts up her arms and says, "We are the Kiwanima. That is our name. These are the little ones. The Gawisu. The Pakwu. Their ancestors were once tall like yourself, and they ruled this continent before the age of ice. But they practiced too long the elder magic, and slowly they were changed. They became smaller, weaker. Now they cannot even remember their own history. They must bear it onto others with their crests and rituals." And then, almost mechanically, she falls kneeling to the ground.
I'm committing all of this to memory. When we get back to civilization, when all this is over, this is gonna make a good book.
It certainly will. Your current total of record points is 20.
Is that I?
The record points, the little scoring system I have in special rules.
Is 20 a good number or is it a low number?
For 3 days of journey now, it's pretty good.
All right, yeah, we're doing good then. We just gotta live. All right. So she's on her knees, and we're still being carried on the backs, Pippin and Mary style, right?
No, they have put you down at this point, in front of this lady.
Oh, all right. Cool. Are we tied with our hands in front of us or hands behind our back?
Your hands are tied behind your back.
Well, if she's just sitting there, I'm gonna try. I guess I'll try and communicate. Unless if she's motioning for us to do something.
She looks to be almost inert, but there's still faint stirrings of life in her, and seems to be rousing. Would you like to speak to her? Say something.
She's speaking English. My name is Teresa. These are my students. We came seeking knowledge. Did not mean to trespass on your lands. We did not mean to harm any of your customs. We come in complete peace. We ask that you let us on our way, and we will return from whence we came. If there's something that must be done for penance, let us know what it needs to be.
A smile breaks out across her face, and then a slight chuckle. You are a wise one, aren't you? A knowledge seeker, a learned mind. You see before you what was once a woman of your own descent. But millennia ago, when I was still Mother Queen of the Kinwanima, I made preparations for the end to come. As the power of our stock diminished, we decided that one, myself, should pass not even as a soul, just as knowledge, as virtue, as guidance, as binding, into a body untainted by the old magic. Since then, many bodies have followed. Each is used till it can no longer bear the sorcery. This body is almost used up. Sometimes it will barely move. She lifts a hand shakily. Sometimes it is at liability of crumbling into dust. And you see that on this hand, there are no fingernails.
That's unfortunate. That's fascinating. Completely fascinating. How old are you? If you're implying what I think you're implying.
I have watched moons that are no longer known to this earth. But you will someday see them in your memories. You seem a suitable shell for my essence, woman doctor. Prepare her, my children.
Now hold on. Why me and not my two missing companions? Or these two right here?
Your mind as your students look upon you with concern, as so easily to be passed under, to be almost brought to the slaughter by you. She chuckles.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant when I said why not them. It was just genuine curiosity. Why me specifically? Not hey, let's hey get these guys, not me. That's all. That's all I was trying to say.
Slip of the tongue. But as stakes are placed to hold down to the ground the binding that keeps your hands behind your back, and a clay beaker is brought filled with an unknown liquid, but that when you drink it, you can tell is some entrancing liquor.
Ooh,
The world spins.
I see.
Like gets up and cackles.
If I can still speak.
Your mind
I-
is had far more time to mature. You may speak, yes.
But I have so many questions. This doesn't need to be to cooperate. This doesn't need to be like this. If you wish to pass on your knowledge to me, consider me willing. If you wish to just take over my vessel, as you call it, perhaps there's something else we can work out.
Doctor, I do not think you understand. I will give you the knowledge, and regardless of whether it was over the many eons you do not have, or if it was with the more direct method, you would not be you anymore. You would be
Would I be
exactly
Would
like
our consciousness combine? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Are you going to just take over my shell? Possess me as if you are some biblical demon? Or will we become a new being altogether?
This has happened so many times with so many varying results, but perhaps you will be. Perhaps you'll be lucky enough that maybe that ambition to write a paper on your experiences will survive.
And what of my two compatriots here?
They will be.
If they have nothing to do with this, you can let them go.
They will be cared for. Do not worry. What you bring is very valuable and respected. She begins to move her claw-like fingers towards your temples. She opens her mouth. La Nyarlathotep, La Rebethol, La Ipiquathwa, Nehea Gruka Ludewa Grunda. With the chant complete, you feel a racking assault upon your psyche. Your head blisters and
Sick.
swirls, lights burn through the air around you. The world fades away, your body falling into darkness. And then your body is away, and there is just darkness and pure mind, not even sight. The sense, not even the darkness that is its absence, is here. Could you make me a power roll?
Howard, you got it. Yeah. Ah, God. Failed by 2.
Would you like to push down this roll with luck?
Yes.
expend 2 points of luck.
I do exactly that.
You come reeling out of this, and it looks like you and the woman are still there. Magrunda. And then this assault recommences. It looks like you beat each other this first round out. Now, again, you test your mind against hers. Make another power roll.
That's a pass.
By how much?
8.
You come out of this and feel as if something has been changed within you, but not completely. Gain. Yes, gain 14 points of intelligence, but
Oh,
you have a
yeah,
feeling
hell yeah.
the beating of drums around you was there before. The ritual is still commencing. You have a feeling that if you lose out another contest like this, you might not just come out with knowledge, and also lose 11 points of sanity.
I got plenty of sanity. So from 70 sanity, that brings me down to 59.
You make an
So far?
intelligence roll from this sanity loss.
Sure.
And make the
I
power
will
roll
laugh
too.
if I fail. If I somehow fail. All right, that's a pass on the power, and now the intelligence. Why did it not? Oh, oh, pass on both.
Pass on both. You fight off
Easy pass
another
on
bout
both.
of this ritual, but with the damage your mind has taken, as it starts to fit things into place you didn't know you had. Memories of old things, creatures that dwarf humanity, but that worse, you know to be around you and is near. In this place, as oh gods, you see it in every corner. Your mind is spinning out of control. It's like every synapse is beginning to fire. With your intelligence check passed, you've entered into a bout of insanity.
Oh well. Short bout, hopefully.
We will hope. You think that the ritual must have continued around you. That whatever happened must have continued to happen. But you're not aware of it, and when you come to, you guess that a few hours must have passed, but you're not in the same location. You now find yourself lying on a hard bed of pebbles beside the deeply incised stream. Immediately, that terror, the hideous, overwhelming beings that you believe to be surrounding you in this forest, that knowledge of told you was as near and as numerous and in every unsight corner, all comes back, and you no longer feel safe here. Not sure of what happened with the ritual. Your companions are no sign of them. The people, no sign of them. The woman, no sign of them, no sign of the clearing. Have you hallucinated all of it? If so, where is everybody? As you look around for anything, you only find a small bit upstream, your hunting knife still in its sheath.
When I think of immediately, I close my eyes and try and think of like memories, like of myself. Like, what do I see of my past? Do I still see myself, or do I have new memories?
You look back and you try to think of your own childhood, and you're able to, but there's other things mixed into it. Scenes from within a forest, from within a village in what must be medieval Europe, in a portly town, probably somewhere on the Southeast Asian coast, on a small Pacific island, maybe, by this tropical climate.
Oh, sick. That's cool. That's so cool. Alright. Do I know of a safe way? Do my new memories, can I roll to see something if I know of a safe way back into civilization from my current location? Or just like any sort of direction?
Sure, make me a sanity roll as you
Absolutely.
try to access the memories.
That's a pass. Barely. Barely. That's a pass.
Barely. You search through the memories, and though you feel a sudden worry of getting lost in this, of them blending too close, of them maybe overwriting something, of them trickling into something of all that, and you're thankful that you're able to keep a level head and keep them separate, especially as, well, you look around in the mists and you blink, and for a brief moment you think you see Bernard and Charlie and Sylvia and Norman there with you. A momentary hallucination. Obviously, your head's still not right. But yes, you know a way, or at least how to navigate from here to someplace safer.
Well, I feel my pockets, myself, my clothes, or anything. Do I have any kind of writing utensil or a notebook or anything, any travel log, anything I can write?
You do have your travel log with you.
Okay. In scrap sheets of my travel log, I'm going to walk in a safe direction, back towards civilization, and I'm going to be writing down, even if it's like all jumbled and all over the place, I'm going to be writing down all of these new memories, every single one, as they come in. Even if it's just like blips and blinks, I'm getting it all down in writing.
It seems that without consciously focusing, and you're not sure how safe consciously focusing is, these memories only come in brief flashes, half-formed faces, nights of stars, just the brief time lapses that must have been spent underneath them. These are the kind of things that pass through your head. But
So even if it's only a little, I guess I'm only writing down just words. Just like basic words like medieval times or just nights and stars. Even if it's just one word, it's a starting point.
As you
Even though it's a
write
dangerous, unsafe place, I can't help but feel successful in this expedition.
and continue walking, thunder rumbles behind the western mountains like the echo of distant drums. The peaks fade into a lowering canopy of clouds. You wade a small river, then cross a pine ridge. The scenery blurs together as you go. The days and that follow, you realize how far you are out, and, well, you must fish with your bare hands, eat whatever small things you find, even insects, and try whatever berries that grow along the way. Could you succeed with survival roll, please?
Alright. Oh, the 2010. That is a pass. That is a fail. Not a pass.
Alright. 4. Wandering alone upon the shores of the river, a drizzling rain comes down, and you start to become cold and chilled and worry having not found shelter. Not like this, but you realize you're close to the mountains, and a little luck looking around.
You cut out there.
Oh, wandering alone upon the shores of the river, a small drizzling rain comes unexpectedly and chills you. As you think about how you haven't found shelter yet, you realize that you're near the base of the mountains. Looking around, you chance upon a cave opening, but you realize one thing. You feel like you've been to this cave before.
I know it's not safe. I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna go in that cave. Hmm. Peer into my mind. Let's see if any of my new thoughts can tell me anything about this cave. Actually, I'm not entering it. No, no way in hell I'm entering it without doing this first.
You go to search through your memories, but suddenly the waft of some terrible, overpowering smell hits you. And as your senses are momentarily blinded, your mind fogs up. It's almost as another wave comes shortly after. It's almost like this cave is breathing something at you.
Yeah, you know what? Whatever trouble you got, cave, I don't want it. From here, I can probably make way back to my original camp. Maybe see if I can find the same path I took to go meet up with those Native Americans.
You turn and start heading back towards the way you came. You could go to the last safe spot you found, even with this cold weather pouring down upon you. But as you're about to step away from the cave, suddenly you feel the same overpowering breath. But this time, it feels closer, hotter, like right on your neck. Yeah.
Now, The old Teresa would be scared. This new Teresa is just going to yell out, "What do you want from me?" I'm not turning around. I'm just going to keep walking in the same direction while I yell that.
You scream out, and there's a sudden shuffling behind you. Something runs back into the cave, and your fevered mind races.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We got the missing link between humans and Neanderthals. It's probably the missing link between bears and prehistoric bears. Hmm. I'm continuing to the say if nothing will if nothing is going to prevent me from walking back to the last safe spot, I'm going to continue.
You
Not gonna
eventually
not
make it
gonna let.
back to that last safe spot, sigh with relief, and decide to make camp there for the day. You're still a ways out from civilization. The memory that flashed into your head tells you that much. Let's see what this new day brings. Trudging on alone, ever alone, weary, hungry, footsore. Maybe now it's all catching up to you. Your little venture back to safety meant you didn't make much progress yesterday, and surviving on so little is very harsh. There's some bleak splendors that you can see in this winter wasteland. The small bits of novelty that peek up underneath the snow and the ever-present fog and the almost dead trees. And you think, as you progress this morning, almost hear a nice faint bird song. Could you make me a listen roll?
Sure. And that is a fail, I'm pretty sure. Yep, that is a fail.
Passing noisily through some thickets, a vast shadow passes overhead, and as it flies through the corner of your eye, could you make me a sanity roll?
Of course. Ah, that's a fail.
Damn, you take 6 points of sanity damage. Could you make me another intelligence roll?
Okay. That's a pass by a lot.
See,
More than half.
another bout of insanity, because intelligence rolls, when succeeded, following massive sanity loss, mean that you have put together what you have seen. That ghastly pink fungoid and insectoid thing. It saw you. You frantically dashed off into the deep forests. That's as much as you can remember. And now you're inside some kind of cave.
God damn.
There's a faint buzzing outside. You wonder if it's still there.
These people want me to pass on their knowledge and all that shit. They just should have did a better job of protecting me. Is it possible I can take a quick restroom break?
Sure, go right ahead.
Cool. All right, I'll be back real quick.
Mm-hmm. And the camera was even taken with. Well, while we wait for Teresa Fairchild, played by GyaruGarou, to return, we are currently playing the Alone Against the Wendigo module, the original version of it, though it's been adapted recently in 2017 as Alone Against the Frost. If you'd like to pick it up, it is. If you'd like to pick it up, you can pick it up from the official Chaosium website, or a number of RPG distributors, Drive-Thru RPG, the like that. These Alone Against modules can be played with one GM and one player, as I'm doing now, or they can be played entirely solo, which is incredibly fun. It means I can run this myself. I think that's one possible path, and then get tons of novelty from the many broken entries that flow into each other and produce a unique play experience each time. Oh, and the music we're using is a wonderful little production by Cryo Chamber. Ambient music for cold survival. It really is something overpowering. Overpoweringly hopeless.
Okay.
And you're back. Alrighty.
All right. Where were we? So we're in the cave. Well, guess I'm gonna try and navigate my mind now that I'm in here to just learn anything about this cave. Actually, oh no, okay, before I do that, I want to think of my own name, and I want to know if any other names come up when I think of my own name. This ought to be cool.
Well, your name, that's pretty simple. You've always been Tara Fairchild. That's plain to see. It's on the sheet, for God's sakes, if you want to go check it.
That's so sick! I don't know if you talk to anyone, but this kind of shit, name shit like this is so cool. I like shit like that so much. I don't know if you knew that or not. I don't know if you wrote that specifically for me, but I'm super into that. Okay, but alright.
I would be a truly sadistic GM or keeper if I went and figured out every way to capitalize on a player. Though, actually, the best horror GM did do that, so.
I like it in like any context, honestly, that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's cool. Anyway. Well, I'm gonna navigate my memory, see if like what is this cave? What is the creature that's hanging out in this cave? The creature that's being such a bitch?
Make a sanity check.
Anything. Yep, it's worth it. Ah, that's a fail.
With this immediate sanity damage, another bout of madness trigger, and I should actually mention with each of these. Firstly, take 1 point of sanity damage and add 8 Cthulhu Mythos.
Cthulhu Mythos right here. Okay.
You try to search your mind for the creature, but This one, no. There's terror and fear and worry about what this creature specifically. You see brains in strange metal jars connected up to systems, living simulated lives somewhere out in the depths. Is that. What is that? What is that celestial body you see? Blue and round through the vantage point. No, this. There's no way. How could this have been seen by one of the previous holders of memories? This must be outside the world. And that is what sends you over the edge. By the time you return to consciousness, you're alone on the shore. A different river, and you've taken 3 points of damage. You cough up some water. Must have filled your lungs during your frenzied state.
I guess, what time of day is it?
It is. It is the afternoon. But that doesn't mean much. It's still just the bright snow, the light snowfall, and the sun peeking in and out of clouds.
Oh, I guess I'm back to just trying to find my way to any form of civilization or shelter.
Indeed. Could you make a survival or track roll?
Let's see which one is better. My survival's better. That's a fail, but I could push a shitload of luck. Is there a limit to the amount of luck I can push, actually?
No, there's not. Other than, well, luck rolls do happen.
No, I'll just take the fail. Fail by like 11.
Day by day, your ability to feed yourself and to find adequate shelter slowly crumbles, and the specter of starvation begins to shadow your trek. You think you've probably lost more weight over the past few days than you have in the past years. Eventually, the hunger moves to spasming, and you feel absolutely weak and lethargic as the days go on. Trudging along gameless shores, you suddenly feel an almost crushing presence upon you. Like all the cold air surrounding you was suddenly frozen and then fell to earth. There's something here. It's the feeling of being watched, but tenfold. Stifled. You fall onto knees on pebbly sand, and then some force of the wilderness seems to make a direct attack to crush your will, like that which you've already experienced at the ritual site. Could you make me a power roll?
Alrighty. That's a big pass. No, wait, no, that's a fail. My bad. Other way around. Oh man, that's a fail.
9. Okay, now let's see how it rolls. The psychic attack hits you, and you stumble back, but it looks like even with your fail, you... It looks like even with your fail, it wasn't of immense strength. You regain your bearings, and... well, now there's... though you were able to escape the brunt of it, there is some feedback. Your mind is like static, and the cravings, the hunger you had before, it's all tangled up. There's some new hunger, some new want, but you're not sure what. As you trek on, eventually you come back to some marsh area, and as you see a carpet of moss on a rock, could you make another power roll?
Alright. That's a fail, but I don't want to take it. It's 10. It's 10. Yeah, I'll push. I'll push that. I'll push by 10 luck.
Succeeding. You find, as you take the first bite of this moss, you spit out the dirty clod, and suddenly you realize the absolute insanity of what you're doing. Whatever was trying to take root before, slowly creeping in, like bugs or a virus, is gone. It's been shooken off. Too strange.
Onward. Maybe if these I'd get out of here faster if these Kowenlu helped me, or whatever they were called.
Yes, could you make another survival or track roll?
That's a pass.
Nice. Alright. You make it back, and now you're sure that with a day's more of travel, the fort lies within your reach. But there's that biting feeling in your memories. There's still something for you to do, but you're not sure what.
Come back and do it later.
For now.
Back with more.
Back later? Yeah.
Later. I'll come back with more equipment, food, rations, people if I need it.
That seems the most sensible thing. The foraging is ample, and you make your way to Fort McDonald. Your current record point total is 30, and your Cthulhu Mythos at the end of the game will be added on to that. Hold on for a moment. I seem to have lost my place in these entries.
That's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Alright, we're back on track. Now, at Fort McDonald, as your wounds are tended to, and you receive the first real food you've had in a long time, as well as a safe spot to rest. It is time to confirm some things. You have lost all the members of your party, and that has brought quite the suspicion upon you. You see it in some of the people that first set you off. They look, seeing you having only returned, and there's something, yeah, the way their eyes look upon you.
They lied about Sylvia Norman. These motherfuckers. I thought they would have let Sylvia Norman go. Well, before anything, I would like to make a request of them. While I sleep, lock me in the room.
They
Do not let me wander into the wilderness in the middle of the night.
They comply
No matter what I say.
with your request, no matter how strange and unhinged it seems. That's something you do note. Your ability to communicate with them is broken down a bit. Your mannerisms seem to put them more on edge. You wonder if, even as you look at your hands, if you still even seem like the same prudent professor that came down here with such a pragmatic idea for an expedition. In the morning, in your locked room, they don't come to open it. Instead, who opens the door are Canadian authorities, with a formal charge for wrongdoing and neglect.
Yeah, wrongdoing, maybe. Neglect? How is that my fault? Alright. Well, it's not like I can just hit them with the Cthulhu Kamehameha or something. Over the night, as long as I got a pen and paper, I'll go with them. I will plead my case. I will tell them everything that happened.
You spend a mere few nights in jail, and then your trial of such high profile for someone from Miskatonic makes a little bit of local news in the few weeks that it lasts. You plead your almost insane trial, and ultimately it is judged that though it is obvious that there is some unsoundness at play, you are still guilty of gross negligence and contributory manslaughter.
Negligence? Definitely plead my case to whoever the judge is. Do you have proof of negligence?
They don't. In fact, that's something made clear at the many weeks of the trial. Your companions are never discovered. No sign of what happened to them in the many weeks that they're searched for evidence turns up. The only thing that remains of your expedition are your notes and your hunting knife. Even that canoe
What
you
about-
left benched by the beach. Where you said it must be, they ventured down there and found nothing. But
What about the arrowhead?
you pull the
Oh, I
arrow.
still got that? Or...
You do. The arrowhead becomes a single piece of evidence at the trial. It is analyzed and it's found that the arrowhead is tipped with some fatal, but in the time that leading up to it, hallucinatory and uh, and paralytic poison.
That's why I got separated. That's how I'm defending myself. I got separated. This arrowhead, I touched a little bit. I got a case of the crazies. And then I got separated from everyone else.
This new piece of evidence turns what must have been a losing trial around in your favor. You are still deemed partially unsound and must take required psychiatric evaluations before being able to
take it.
return to the United States, but you'll avoid jail time or loss of your tenured position at Miskatonic. Your evidence doesn't go neglected, and though it'll be hard to find funding again, your future ventures will not be... Oh. Though, once, as I said, it'll be hard to get grants. People realize that it's not much fault of your own.
Let's just say Tara isn't so concerned about getting grants. Throughout the entire trial, I'm just writing down everything. My experiences, new memories, everything. Literally everything. Everything I can remember and muster. Even if it's just like a feeling. It's gonna be looking like a Viraconium novel.
And just for that
Just
interesting
all over the
thing,
place.
I'm adding 10 record points onto this. You won't be able to venture back to the Hanina, not for a long time. But you think that maybe when you're old, go back there. There might be something waiting for you. The preparations to vanish from public notice with the drawing of the Great Depression. Yes, it seems like all is in the cards, possibly.
This new Fairchild is nothing but an improvement in every way.
Alright. And with that, the game is concluded with a final record point
sick.
total of 40. And add those 8 points of Cthulhu Mythos on.
It's 48.
And yes, perhaps one day, Tara Fairchild will find whatever she was looking for in those strange woods. But for now, we will have to see what other ventures into the Hanina bring forth. How did you enjoy your stay? You said very sick.
I mean, okay, so I was really into it when we met the Native American guys, and then when I realized there was a possession plot going on or some shit like that, I was like extremely on board. Extreme. Then you brought in the name thing, and I'm just like, all right, who told you? Did someone tell you I like this kind of stuff? Like,
no. But I'm glad it
like,
worked
seriously.
out that way.
Did someone tell you I like the possession kind of stuff?
No.
Like, damn, all right, that worked out really well.
In fact, most of this came from... I mentioned it during the bathroom break, but most of this comes from the Alone Against the Wendigo solo supplement for Call of Cthulhu. It's
I had a feeling the creature was something like that. I had a feeling. I'm superstitious, so I'm not saying the name, but had a feeling.
that's reasonable. Oh shit, yeah,
What?
now that I think about it, never mind. It might be a good. No, this is actually a good story for the stream. So, I was in a area where, uh, well, nothing like it's a sleepy place. Nothing like that had happened for a very long time. But yeah, back when I was still streaming in CST time, we went out to the woods, went to this platform where a lot of people just went to hang out in the woods, off off the little grounds where I was housed, and well, somehow scary stories got brought up, but I think I shouted Wendigo multiple times. Anyways, there was somebody there, with a little bit of native descent, and they also started to say that stuff, and well, I think now that this is all clicking into my head, it explains why, like, for like 2 weeks afterwards, they like looked like they hadn't gotten any sleep.
Huh. Yeah.
I guess
I
I
don't remember
accidentally goaded
where I learned
somebody.
it.
I guess I accidentally goaded somebody into summoning the skinwalkers on them.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't say it, just in case. I'm there's like 99% chance it doesn't exist, but the 1% chance, I ain't fucking with that. And that's a little bit. That's why I like to play a pragmatic character for this, because I
True.
can bleed a little bit of me in there. There's trouble in there. There ain't nothing for me.
That actually
That
probably
cave, that was
explains
avoiding that cave like crazy.
that explains why they changed the module title when they updated it in 2017.
Oh yeah, huh?
Alone
Just so
Against
people.
Frost slash Alone Against Winter is the new title, which I actually prefer because it doesn't spoil the Wendigo
Yeah.
part. But at the same time, yeah, I can understand. When we release this, let's just make sure the 1% chance of Skinwalkers, 1% chance.
Yeah, don't say it.
Ithaqua, Ithaqua, Ithaqua.
I actually don't know what that is. I actually don't know what that means at all. Sounds cool.
Uh, within Call of Cthulhu, the big Wendigo is Ithaqua.
I bet they look tight. But yeah, like nah, this is super sick.
If by tight you mean extremely malnourished, yes.
But they have like antlers, don't they?
They're big,
Oh, wow, I'm
incredibly
actually curious.
feeble, well, strong but feeble and malnourished looking. And yes, usually have a deerish head with antlers. Actually, in some of the stories, they say that Wendigo got as big enough to fell trees when they walked. And there's still stories of tribes defeating them through various ritualistic means. Very fun. Wendigo power scaling.
Oh well, some of these look like they got antlers. Some of these look like Sasquatch.
Some of them do just look like Sasquatch. Or like frozen, frostbitten people.
This one looked like a Dark Souls boss. It's just a giant skeleton. Like, I don't know if you know the lore of Gyaru, but it is kind of like some like cursed possession stuff. Why I'm like this, so I'm just like, oh my god, that's so sick. When it came into play in the story, and that's why I was like super on board with it when it went down.
Well, I am a big fan of the deer antlers, and I didn't even think of it at the time. But perfect module for a character like you.
Yeah, good choice, good choice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
And Now that with this game come to a conclusion, who would you like to nominate for the next round?
Well, because I already talked with them prior, I said I had two choices.
Mm-hmm.
My first choice is gonna be Satsuma Bimo.
Alrighty. So, can we have you say
I'm not gonna
Bimo
say the name of the monster.
Nah. Can we get you to say with much vigor a call? Bimo, what are you going to say to Bimo to get Bimo down to the North Honeyman?
Hmm.
Your fiery telegram.
I fired it. Ooh, a telegram? Alright. Well, the details of the telegram of just like explaining, like, you know, passing on whatever knowledge I have. I don't know when the next time period is gonna be, how far in the future. No idea. But I assume it's so far enough that I have some renown.
Yes, well, the depression will have hit.
Okay, so it's at least Wait, when was the depression? Am I stupid? It's in the 30s.
30s.
So it would have been at least 10 years, 10ish years, maybe less. Well, I'm saying, well, if they want to learn everything I have, if they want to know what really happened, I'll be waiting here. If not, know that I am coming. That's the last words of it. Know that I am
Nice.
coming.
I like that. And so, we will have to see what Satsuna Bimo finds at the edge of the earth.
Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. As am I. Now let's see if Twitch will load for me, who is currently up and about. Let's see. Oh. I say, why don't we raid into Tired Squiddy?
Okay.
And for our message, the Skinwalkers are coming.
I was gonna say the I word just over and over. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah.
It is time for me to disconnect and recharge. But I hope to see you to tune in again next time. After all, this program's made possible by viewers like you. See you over there.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I will be honest. The moment the music came on, it was really loud on my end. It was.
Oh yeah,
it
you
got me a
have
little
to
unnerved.
adjust. You have to adjust the bot. But when it
I
does
did
come in
after
loud.
the starting part, but as soon as it came on, I was kind of spooked.
The music is the first jump scare.
Absolutely. But no, that was really great. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah. I should have built differently. I failed a lot at the start, and I was realizing like, oh man, I should have just min-maxed. I didn't want to min-max, but I
Don't
should have
worry about it.
min-maxed.
Way of the dice, way of the dice. And in this, if
Yeah,
you
pretty
min-max
much.
in one thing, you are going to be minned in the other thing very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, what I like most
And it
about
works out.
Call of Cthulhu is
Oh,
that
go
it
ahead.
really is a system about playing real people.
Hmm.
You get when
Yeah,
people are in it, they don't think like this is how I play the game. They think, okay, I'm this person. I am over my head, and I need to survive. And that's the intended feeling.
that's pretty much how it was kind of playing too. The other I played the last one I played was the D20 version by Wizards of the Coast, and it's a bit more of the same, but it's a lot more gamey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god, the era of the D20 conversion everything. I've read
yeah,
that because I got curious about it, and I was like, oh my god, the moment combat starts is when you put in your headphones because oh boy, there's no more horror after that point. Just rolling.
pretty much. I mean, it was so we played it for a two shot, and literally the opposite happened. Like we thought, because of the setting that we had, we didn't think it was going to be scary. But the first session was scary, and the second session wasn't. We thought the opposite would have been true, because we had the kind of a I wouldn't say jokey, but it was a very ridiculous setting.
Ah.
It was I guess you could say quite yab.
It's oh yeah, that
And then
actually is
the second session was all
that is
jokes.
a funny emergent phenomena of Call of Cthulhu is that it seems like the most widely known online Call of Cthulhu campaigns are the ones that just got so incredibly yap. Because I think if you are incredibly successful in Call of Cthulhu, uh, beyond beyond anything that's reasonable, you just have to go into Fantasyland storytelling. Like there's the
Oh my
most
god!
famous one is Old Man Henderson.
Yeah, I know all of them. I know Old Man Henderson. I know all of the oh god, what was it called? Code Green, whatever that setting is. I know those stories. Yeah, like for us, the initial setting, let's just say it was in a city during a social unrest riot in contemporary times,
Mm.
because like that's no one's told a Cthulhu kind of story in that kind of setting before, so not very serious. And we thought the first session would be the non-scary one. That was the scary one. And the second session turned into two players' characters hated each other, and it was a lot of them fighting, and it was very funny. It was mostly that, and then it turned into jokes from there. Because it was very it's the combat pretty much turned into Pathfinder.
Before I started running Call of Cthulhu, I saw a story about it, which the general premise went: guy makes a character, he walks out of all the locations in the town right into the cult base, succeeds on so many rolls of persuasion of like, can I please, at the he picks up on some mention that this is a cult hideout, not a normal shop. But out of character and in character, he doesn't realize anything. He just wants to know more. So he starts to sweet talk and charm and whatever his way in, and they're like,
Oh, is this the guy with the professor, and he just becomes like the
Cthulhu worshiper? Yeah.
yeah, like unintentionally, and he's like riding like a unicorn. He just thinks this stuff's cool. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
no, that was my favorite one.
Succeed every sanity roll, get on the Byakuya because you want to go to space, go to literally roll for a random page of the book, pull up roulette, go up to Cthulhu, go permanently insane. You have now created the next villain of your campaign. I since
Yeah,
then
no, it was
I've
sick.
since then I've allowed players when they're usually the last one alive or whatever. I feel like I'll throw them a bone of like, do you want to become the next? Do you want to become the next villain? I think in one which was against Nyarlathotep, they literally just packed up and left. Got killed by a were getting killed by a hunting whore on the way home, and well, it comes down to the last one of it, and the guy's like, "All right, I can't fight this thing. I can't fight this thing. I drop my gun. I submit, put my hands up to it. Whatever." It's just like, alrighty. It crawls around you, and your friend is currently, like up a few meters up ahead in the road, running away from you, and its tail taps against the gun that you just dropped. He became the next villain by sealing his pact in blood.
Oh, yeah.
That was a pretty
Man,
funny
stuff like that,
resolution
coincidences like that are pretty
because it was
funny.
that was when we actually got to play in person. So, the
Oh, I haven't
please
played
don't
in
shoot me,
person in
please
so
don't
long.
shoot me. Screw you. I'm saving my own life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was going in with that intention, and then it worked out. Everything worked out, and I really gotta know, because don't take this the wrong way. Don't take this. Don't no judgment. I need to know is whatever possessed me, whatever person that was, were they a guy originally?